So today I got the guidance to just go to my card cabinet and just pick a deck. And so before I show you the deck that was chosen, I want to show you like my little card cabinet. So this is like my little altar space that I have. So, I have this fun little messages from Jesus card, pray always. And then I have the Course in Miracles experiment as well as the Course in Miracles. And so this is where my cards sit. And so I have all of these fabulous little decks in here. And then I also have even more decks underneath here. And this is just the other nightstand that I have. And it has even more decks underneath there. So the deck that got chosen was Colette Baron-Reid's The Postcards From Spirit. And I love this deck because it's literally just a channeled message. At least that's how I like to look at them. So the channeled message that we got is, Dearest you, as you think, so you will experience life. Thoughts are that powerful, and they need minding. Now, when it says that, this doesn't mean that you have to be like, oh my God, I have to watch every single thought. It's just telling you that, as A Course in Miracles says, our minds have a tendency to wander into darkened corridors, right? That we know aren't good for us, but we still kind of wander down them. And that's all that it's really saying your thoughts need minding. It's just pay attention. That's it. Just pay attention. Is your mind starting to drift down a darkened corridor that you know isn't going to serve you? It says, let the unruly, chaotic ones settle down so they serve you, or get released instead of wreaking havoc. These thoughts arise when connected to the energy of fear, and they often masquerade as truth, yet the real truth is that essentially all is well. Now, when it talks about these fearful thoughts, the fearful thoughts and the fearful emotion in and of itself is not a bad thing. The fear is just an indicator. That emotion is an indicator saying, ooh, okay, so maybe there's a protection mechanism coming up because I'm going past my comfort zone. Or maybe there is just something that is there's a part of me that feels threatened. And so therefore it's like, ooh, watch out, watch out, watch out. Can we be willing to acknowledge that instead of trying to judge that? And that's like a really big distinction. Can I acknowledge the thought is fear and not let it drive the car? Or am I going to judge that thought as fear and let it drive the car? So it says, of course, you have thoughts that are positive, strong, organized, accepting, creative, and open, and so on. Those are the ones we want to keep thinking, and they have a less frenetic quality. They're stimulating in a good way and don't get away from us. And oftentimes, when we're having those fearful thoughts, they can get away from us. Again, we're feeding them a lot. We're feeding them energy. So therefore, they can start running away. It says, how do we keep our inner eye on our thoughts? It says, meditate and leave judgment out of the mix. And I love that. Not so much like the meditate, even though I do love meditation, but leave judgment out of the mix, because there's such a big difference between judgment, oh, I should know better, and discernment, which is, I see this. I see that this is a fearful thought. I can still love, honor, and accept myself, even though this fearful thought is here. That's a big difference. Judgment, I'm having a negative thought or a fearful thought. I'm a bad person. Compared to, I see that this is a negative thought, and I see that I'm feeding it energy, but I can still love, honor, and accept myself, and I can still love, honor, and accept this thought without letting it take the wheel, without it letting it drive my mind or drive the car, if you will. And then it says, everyone has those fearful thoughts. Love them. Love yourself, and then choose the thought you'd like to think. And again, you don't have to go from fear all the way up to love. You can be like, I'm in fear, and you know what? I'm angry. And then from anger, or, I'm fearful, I'm feeling guilty about that, I'm feeling disappointed, now I'm getting angry. And again, you just go up that emotional scale. You're consciously choosing thoughts that feel just a little bit better. It doesn't have to be 100% better. It can just be like 1% better. And Spirit is not asking you for perfection. It's asking you just to choose. That's it. Because again, our thoughts need minding, but not to the point of excess or obsession of, oh my God, I had a negative thought, or I had a fearful thought. I can see that I'm starting to go into that fear story. I can see it. I can acknowledge it. And I get to, in this moment, choose again. And isn't that beautiful? You have the ability, because the power of decision is your own. You get to choose that next thought. You get to choose it. So that is our message for today from Colette Baron-Reid's Postcard from Spirit.